Okay, welcome in. We're here for our Midday Minutes with Madison. This is a new segment we have going on here. And I am sitting with Dr. Sanjay Sethi. He is out of UB Internal Medicine. So we're talking about vaping. This has been dominating the conversation. We run a story probably in every single newscast every day. I think my burning question is how vaping went from being this great alternative, vape, don't smoke cigarettes, we know cigarettes are bad, to now we're saying, hold on, stop. Don't do this either. People are dying. People are getting ill from this.
Right. I mean, it's been a rather interesting journey. I think when it started, when they came out with unflavored e-cigarettes, and as an alternative to cigarettes, they did seem attractive. And even today, I would say if somebody is smoking cigarettes, is addicted to it, cannot come off it any other way, it may be better to smoke an e-cigarette which is unflavored. But then we started kind of getting worried about it when they started putting flavorings, because the flavorings are meant to be ingested, not inhaled.
Huh.
Right? I mean, these are food flavorings. These are they're not flavorings that were approved for inhalation. So we got concerned about that as to what they could do to the lungs. And then, of course, the marketing to teens and children, and then they get hooked to e-cigarettes, and then they may move on to regular cigarettes. So those became real concerns. And then
you saw a case recently here in the Western New York area, was it? What did it look like? What was wrong?
I know. So now that's the latest new problem with this. So, yes, the flavorings were of a concern. Maybe long term they'll have bad effects on the lungs. But then we started seeing, and there were all these reports, I'm sure everybody's familiar with those, of these really acute lung injuries. So these are patients who come in, average age is 19 based on the studies. So that means that lots of them are younger, and some are older. And they're usually heavy users of, what's interesting is not just e-cigarettes, but also they're vaping, more than 80% were vaping THC or marijuana related products. And a lot of those are black market products that they were using. And this is a whole different ballgame. These are people presenting with acute lung injury, in the sense they looks like a pneumonia. You give them antibiotics, they keep on getting worse, to the point that most of them end up in the hospital. Some of them required to go on a breathing machine, a ventilator, and then you've heard there have been 6 deaths attributed to this.
Right. And so, I want to pull up a demonstration here. It's from the National Health Service in the UK, and they're showing a month of smoking a pack of cigarettes versus a month of vaping. And we're going to see in the demonstration how it shows we've seen this. We grew up seeing all the things about the tar and what it does to your lungs, but with vaping, it doesn't necessarily have the same effect in what's being put into our body. So how is it harming us?
Yeah. So I think I would go back to that again, that in terms of unflavored vaping, I mean, that's where it started. It really could be better than smoking a cigarette. But then the moment you start putting other things, flavorings, additives, and of course, things that are nothing to do with nicotine, like, CBDs and THC, and I just heard today on one of the blurbs I saw was about they were putting synthetic marijuana into these vapes. So that, then you're really exposing the lungs to a whole different set of potential insults, which we know nothing about, which we have no idea what they could do. And now we're seeing what they can do.
Right. And even the CDC was releasing some statistics saying that adult smokers, as you've been saying, people who are already smoking can benefit from vaping, but it's really, people started adding things to it. So originally it was a fine concept.
Yes.
And now people started adding things, and they say that it's not safe for youth, young adults, or pregnant women, or people who don't already smoke. So we basically we got a whole generation to start smoking?
Well, that's the scary part of it, because what they realized was a lot of the children who start out, or teens who start out with vaping, and then many of them do progress to regular cigarettes. Right. That margin, they get hooked to nicotine, and then they got to satisfy that, and then some of them, many of them transfer over to cigarettes. So the whole idea that this could be safe and anyone and everyone could do it is completely absurd now.
And I asked you in the break, it's a simple question, a simple answer really. Is there anything safe? You can smoke.
The lungs are a very delicate organ. The lungs were created to, very finely to transfer oxygen and carbon dioxide, and so they're really delicate. So simply said no. I mean, there's, all we should put in the lungs is air.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll put more information on vaping. Of course, we've been covering it, and more information on how to reach your offices on our website. We're going to take it a break now. We'll be right back with another look at your forecast.